Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me closely because this is important. You have one life, not two, not three, one. And yet, so many people wander through it like they're sleepwalking, settling for comfort, settling for average, settling for less than what they are truly capable of. Ask yourself this. If you only have one shot at this life, at this journey, why are you settling? Why are you accepting a life that doesn't ignite your soul? Why are you spending your days doing things that don't make your heart beat faster, that don't challenge you, that don't push you toward greatness? Mediocrity is not a crime, but it is a choice, and every time you choose it, you are shrinking your own potential. You are saying to yourself, this is enough. But I am telling you, enough is never enough. You were born to achieve. You were born to create impact. You were born to leave a mark on this world that cannot be erased. Think about the people you admire, the ones who inspire you. They didn't settle. They didn't play small. They faced fear head on. They embraced uncertainty, and they refused to allow the opinions of others to dictate their potential. They understood one truth. Extraordinary lives are not accidental. They are intentional. They are fought for. They are claimed. And here's the truth you must own right now. The only thing standing between you and the life you want is you. Your fear, your excuses, your comfort zone, that's the wall. Tear it down, burn it, step through it. Every second you hesitate is a second you are losing. Every moment you settle is a moment you will never get back. You cannot wait for the perfect time, because it will never come. You cannot wait until you feel ready, because readiness is an illusion. The people who live fully, who reach heights that others only dream of, are the ones who start anyway, even when they are scared. They act while others are thinking. They leap while others hesitate. They move while others wait. Now, I want you to look in the mirror. Really look and ask yourself, am I living my life on purpose? Am I stepping into my true potential, or am I simply existing? The answer will be uncomfortable, but that's the point. Growth is uncomfortable. Progress is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable, and mediocrity is comfortable, too comfortable. And that comfort is killing your dreams. So what do? You decide right now that comfort is no longer acceptable. You decide that you will not settle for a life that is half lived. You decide that you will rise, you will fight. You will push yourself beyond what you thought possible. You will challenge yourself every single day to be better, to do better, to go further. You will demand more from yourself, and in doing so, you will demand more from life. You have one life, and it is waiting for you, not for someone else, not for a convenient tomorrow, but for you right now. So ask yourself, will you settle, or will you live fully, passionately, fearlessly, and without limits? The choice is yours. Make it count. Life is finite. It is limited, precious, and completely non-refundable. And yet, so many people live as if they have unlimited time, as if life will keep giving them second chances, as if tomorrow will always arrive with more opportunities. But the truth is simple, brutal, and freeing. You only get one life, one shot at this existence, one opportunity to create impact, one chance to leave a mark that outlives you. And if you are spending it settling for comfort, for safety, for mediocrity, then you are squandering it. Every day that passes is a day that you cannot get back. Every moment that you allow yourself to play small is a moment you permanently lose. And every compromise you make in your standards or your dreams chips away at the legacy you will leave behind. Imagine looking back decades from now, realizing that you didn't take the leap, that you allowed fear to dictate your choices, that you settled for less than what you were capable of achieving. The regret would be unbearable. And yet, so many people walk this path unconsciously, without awareness of how fleeting life truly is. Settling for mediocrity is a silent thief. It steals not just your achievements, but your joy, your energy, your enthusiasm, and your self-respect. It convinces you that good enough is actually enough. It whispers in your ear that comfort is safety, that avoiding risk is wisdom, that following the path of least resistance is smart. But this is a lie. Comfort is not safety. it is stagnation. Avoiding risk is not wisdom, it is limitation. And the path of least resistance is not smart. It is a trap that keeps you small while the world passes you by. You were not designed for smallness. You were not put on this planet to blend in, to merely exist, to avoid challenges. You were designed for greatness, for contribution, for impact, for living in a way that leaves others inspired and yourself fulfilled. Ask yourself right now, are you living in alignment with this truth? Are you waking up every day with energy, with purpose, with fire in your belly? Or are you drifting through life, letting time slip by, letting circumstances dictate your reality, letting fear dictate your decisions? There is a difference between survival and living. Survival is breathing, eating, going through the motions. Living is having a mission, a vision, a reason to leap out of bed with anticipation, a reason to challenge yourself, to grow, to stretch, to move closer each day to your highest potential. And the truth is, most people confuse survival with life. They think being comfortable, being safe, being average is living, but it is not. It is existing. It is fading. It is mediocrity disguised as safety. And here is the empowering truth. You have the ability to change this at any moment. You have the power to refuse mediocrity, to reject compromise, to embrace the discomfort of growth, to take control of your destiny. You do not need permission from anyone to live fully. You do not need validation from anyone to chase your dreams. You do not need to wait for ideal conditions or perfect timing. Every single second that you waste thinking that life will wait for you is a second lost forever. The life you want, the extraordinary life you dream of, exists on the other side of fear, on the other side of discipline, on the other side of hard choices, bold action, and relentless persistence. Every great achievement, every inspiring story, every legacy ever built began with someone deciding they would not settle. They would not compromise. They would not accept anything less than their potential. Imagine for a moment the life you could have if you stopped settling. Imagine the heights you could reach if you refused to allow fear, comfort, or doubt to hold you back. Imagine the impact you could make if you pushed past average and demanded greatness from yourself. Imagine the people you could inspire simply by choosing to live boldly, by choosing to step into your full potential, by choosing to be a force of energy and contribution in a world that desperately needs it. Every day you have the choice. Stay where you are and allow mediocrity to define you, or take massive action, embrace growth, and claim the life you were meant to live. This is not hypothetical. This is not a distant possibility. This is right now, this moment, this breath. Life is happening. Life is passing. Life is relentless. Your potential is enormous, but it will remain dormant unless you wake it up. Your dreams are valid, but they will remain unrealized unless you chase them with ferocity. Your time is now, and the longer you wait, the harder it will get. The fewer opportunities will appear, and the more regret will accumulate. Do not let fear, comfort, or indecision dictate your story. Do not allow the opinions of others to limit your vision. Do not settle for a life that is smaller than what you can achieve. You have one life, and it is yours to define. You have one chance to rise above average, to break free from the ordinary, to pursue excellence in every area of your life, and to create a legacy that inspires those who come after you. Mediocrity is not something that happens to you. It is a choice you make every single day. It is the silent agreement you have with yourself to accept less, to shrink your potential, to settle for comfort instead of pursuing greatness. Every time you choose the familiar over the challenging, the easy over the meaningful, the predictable over the extraordinary, you are choosing mediocrity. And the frightening truth is that most people do this unconsciously. They drift through life, allowing fear, hesitation, and social pressure to dictate their actions. while telling themselves that they are doing the right thing. But the right thing, when it comes to your life, is not the safe choice, it is not the compromise, and it is not the path of least resistance. The right choice is the one that stretches you, challenges you, forces you to grow, and pushes you beyond what you thought was possible. Mediocrity is seductive. It whispers in your ear that comfort is safety, that staying where you are is smart, that avoiding risk is responsible. It convinces you that good enough is actually enough. But good enough is a trap. Good enough is the enemy of excellence. Every time you accept good enough, you deny yourself the opportunity to discover what you are truly capable of achieving. You deny yourself the chance to see what heights you could reach if you refuse to limit yourself. You deny the world the gift of your contribution, the impact of your talent, and the power of your unique potential. The choice to settle is not neutral. It comes with consequences. Every compromise, every avoidance of challenge, every step backward from ambition erodes your confidence, diminishes your energy, and shrinks your life experience. Now consider the life you dream of. Imagine your goals, your passions, your aspirations fully realized. Picture the impact you could make, the people you could inspire, the doors you could open, and the legacy you could leave. That life will not arrive on its own. It will not appear magically. It requires a choice, a deliberate decision, to reject mediocrity and embrace the discomfort of growth. It requires the courage to take risks, to challenge norms, to push past fear, to persist when it is hard, to take massive action even when results are uncertain. Excellence is not a gift that falls into your lap. It is a result of decisions, discipline, and consistent effort over time. And every decision to remain in your comfort zone moves you further away from the life you want, while every decision to pursue your highest potential moves you closer to it. Excuses are the language of mediocrity. Every time you tell yourself you are too busy, too tired, too inexperienced, too young, or too old, you are choosing mediocrity. You are giving your power away. You are saying that external circumstances define your potential instead of taking responsibility for your actions. Responsibility is liberating. Responsibility is empowering. When you take full ownership of your life, when you decide that no excuse is acceptable, when you refuse to allow limitations to dictate your choices, you reclaim the life you were meant to live. You take control. You assert your power. You say, I will not settle. I will not compromise. I will rise above average and demand more from myself and from my life. The truth is that extraordinary results are never achieved by those who play it safe. Extraordinary lives are created by people who refuse to settle, who push boundaries, who dare to dream bigger than anyone else thinks is reasonable, and who act with relentless determination. They understand that growth is uncomfortable, that change is difficult, that fear will always appear when you are about to step into something great, but they do it anyway. They choose discomfort over comfort because they know that comfort leads to stagnation, that avoidance leads to regret, and that settling leads to a life half lived. You have the same potential. You have the same ability. You have the same opportunity to break free from mediocrity and to pursue a life of significance, impact, and fulfillment. Ask yourself right now, are you choosing mediocrity in your life? Are you letting comfort, fear, or habit dictate your actions? Are you compromising on your dreams, settling for the easy path, and accepting a life that is smaller than what you are capable of achieving? If the answer is yes, it is time to make a choice. It is time to refuse mediocrity. It is time to take massive action, to push past fear, to challenge yourself, to demand more from yourself, and to commit to a life of excellence. Every day you do not act is a day you are choosing mediocrity. Every day you do not step forward is a day you are giving up your power, and every moment you allow excuses, comfort, or hesitation to control you is a moment lost forever. Fear and excuses are the walls that separate you from your potential. They are invisible barriers that seem harmless at first, but over time they limit your growth, shrink your dreams, and steal your energy. Every time you allow fear to dictate your decisions, every time you rationalize inaction with excuses, every time you convince yourself that it is safer to stay where you are building a wall between yourself and the extraordinary life you could be living. Fear will always appear when you are about to take a leap into greatness, because fear is the body's natural response to the unknown, to uncertainty, and to change. But here is the truth. Fear is not your enemy. It is your guide. Fear shows you exactly where your potential lies. It points you to the areas where growth is waiting, and it signals the moments when you must act despite discomfort. Excuses, on the other hand, are the chains you forge to justify inaction. They are comforting lies that mask hesitation as wisdom, mediocrity as safety, and avoidance as prudence. Every successful person you admire has faced fear and excuses. Every person who has achieved extraordinary results has felt the pull of doubt, the pressure of uncertainty, and the temptation to turn back, to stay small, to play it safe. What separates them from the rest is not the absence of fear, but the courage to act in spite of it. They understood that comfort is a trap, that hesitation is the enemy of progress, and that excuses are the tools mediocrity uses to hold people back. They moved forward when others stayed still. They pushed harder when others slowed down. They leaned into discomfort when others ran away. And in doing so, they created results, impact, and a life that exceeded the ordinary. Fear and excuses can manifest in many ways. Fear can appear as self, doubt, anxiety, procrastination, or the constant search for reassurance from others. Excuses can appear as blaming circumstances, waiting for the right moment, feeling unprepared, or convincing yourself that your actions won't matter. Each of these is a decision. Every time you succumb to fear, you are deciding to limit your possibilities. Every time you accept an excuse, you are choosing mediocrity over greatness. But the beauty of this truth is that the same is also true in reverse. Every time you act despite fear, every time you refuse to let excuses control you, you are choosing expansion, growth, and progress. You are stepping into your power, claiming your potential, and moving closer to the life you were meant to live. The power of action is undeniable. Action transforms dreams into reality. Action builds momentum, confidence, and clarity. Action is the bridge between who you are today and who you can become tomorrow. And yet, so many people wait. They wait for the fear to disappear, for the timing to be perfect, for the excuses to vanish. But that moment rarely comes. Fear does not go away simply because you wait. Excuses do not dissolve simply because you hope. The only way to overcome fear and excuses is to act anyway, to move forward in spite of them, to step into discomfort, and to embrace the challenge that lies ahead. Every step you take toward courage, every decision to refuse excuses, every moment you choose action over inaction is a step toward liberation, toward progress, and toward a life lived fully. The wall that fear and excuses build is not unbreakable. It is breakable, but it requires one thing above all: decision. You must decide that you are no longer willing to allow fear to control your choices. You must decide that you are no longer willing to let excuses dictate your life. You must decide that your vision, your dreams, and your potential are more important than the temporary comfort of staying in the familiar. And once you make that decision, the next step is action. You take the first step, then the next, and suddenly what seemed impossible begins to feel possible. Momentum builds, courage grows, and fear begins to lose its power over you. Excuses start to fall away, and you realize that the life you imagined is not only possible, it is within your grasp. Every single person has fear. Every single person has excuses, but not everyone achieves. Not everyone grows. Not everyone lives fully. The difference is action. The difference is decision. The difference is refusing to allow fear and excuses to control your destiny. You have the ability to break down the walls that separate you from your potential. You have the power to act despite fear, to push through excuses, and to step into the life you were born to live. You can be the person who moves forward while others hesitate, who rises while others retreat, who achieves while others settle. Extraordinary lives are not accidental. They are intentional. They are built by people who refuse to drift, who refuse to settle, and who refuse to accept that average is acceptable. Most people live unconsciously, allowing circumstances, comfort, or other people's opinions to dictate the path they follow. They float through life, waiting for something to happen, hoping that success will find them, believing that opportunity is a matter of luck rather than a result of deliberate action. But extraordinary results, extraordinary impact, and extraordinary fulfillment are never the product of chance. They are the product of decisions, of commitment, of discipline, and of relentless pursuit. They are claimed by those who understand one simple truth: life will not hand you greatness. You must go out and take it. To live an extraordinary life, you must first understand that your potential is limitless. There is no ceiling on what you can achieve, no boundary on the contribution you can make, and no restriction on the legacy you can leave. The only limits are the ones you place on yourself, the ones created by fear, hesitation, doubt, and self-imposed restrictions. Every person has talents, abilities, and ideas that are waiting to be expressed. Every person has a unique purpose that the world needs. But so many never realize it because they never take the intentional steps required to activate that potential. They settle for ordinary jobs, ordinary relationships, ordinary experiences, and ordinary thinking. They tell themselves that this is enough, when in reality they were created for more. Intentionality is the secret that separates the extraordinary from the average. Ordinary lives are lived reactively. People respond to circumstances. They react to other people's expectations. They drift through life without a clear vision. Extraordinary lives are lived proactively. People make decisions, they create plans, they take massive action, and they move deliberately toward a clearly defined outcome. Every great achievement in history started with someone making an intentional choice, refusing to be limited by the status quo, and taking bold action despite uncertainty. You must cultivate the same mindset. You must refuse to accept mediocrity as a default. You must commit to being deliberate with your actions, your energy, your focus, and your time, understanding that each decision shapes your destiny. Extraordinary lives require courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act in spite of it. Fear will always appear when you are about to step outside the familiar, when you are about to challenge yourself, when you are about to create something remarkable. Courage is what allows you to take action even when the outcome is uncertain, even when the path is difficult, even when everyone else doubts you. Courage is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. And every time you choose courage over comfort, every time you push forward despite fear, you grow stronger, more confident, and more capable. Courage is a habit. It is a muscle that can be trained through consistent action, bold decisions, and a refusal to allow fear to dictate your story. Discipline is another cornerstone of extraordinary living. Talent alone is not enough. Desire alone is not enough. Inspiration alone is not enough. What produces results is discipline, the ability to show up consistently, to take the actions that matter even when motivation fades, to maintain focus when distractions and challenges arise, and to persist when others quit. Discipline is what transforms potential into achievement, ideas into results, and dreams into reality. Every extraordinary person you admire has mastered discipline. They understood that consistency beats occasional brilliance, that small daily actions compound into massive impact over time, and that perseverance in the face of obstacles is non-negotiable. Intentionality, courage, and discipline together create momentum. Momentum is the force that propels ordinary people into extraordinary lives. Once you make the decision to refuse mediocrity, once you commit to acting despite fear, once you build the habits of discipline, momentum begins to carry you forward. You start seeing results, and those results fuel further action, increasing confidence, expanding opportunity, and opening doors that were previously invisible. Momentum amplifies everything you do, and when it is combined with a clear purpose, it becomes unstoppable. Extraordinary lives also require vision. You must see clearly what you want, not just in vague terms, but in specific, measurable, tangible ways. You must imagine your future in such vivid detail that it pulls you forward with energy and urgency. Vision is the compass that directs your action. Without it, you drift. With it, you move with intention. Vision gives meaning to sacrifice, courage to action, and discipline to daily habits. It is the anchor that keeps you focused when challenges arise, when the world doubts you, and when obstacles appear to block your path. Every decision you make, every action you take, and every thought you entertain is either moving you toward mediocrity or toward an extraordinary life. You must choose deliberately. You must refuse to settle, refuse to drift, refuse to accept good enough as acceptable, and commit to living a life of intention, courage, discipline, and vision. You have one life, one opportunity, and one chance to make an impact that is meaningful, significant, and lasting. This life is yours to define, but so often people allow it to be defined by others, by circumstances, by fears, and by limits that they accept instead of challenge. They drift through days, years, and decades without purpose, without intention, and without the energy required to claim the life they were meant to live. They settle for comfort, for safety, for routine, and convince themselves that mediocrity is acceptable. But you and I know better. We know that life is too precious, too short, and too powerful to be spent on anything less than extraordinary. Every second that passes is a second you cannot recover. And every moment spent settling is a moment that diminishes your potential and erodes the legacy you could leave. The choice is yours. You can continue down the path of comfort, of hesitation, of inaction, and accept that your life will be ordinary. Or you can decide today, in this very moment, to step up, to rise, and to demand more from yourself than you have ever demanded before. The people who achieve greatness, who live with energy, passion, and purpose, are not necessarily the most talented or the luckiest. They are the ones who refuse to settle, who refuse to compromise, who refuse to accept anything less than their highest potential. They understand that every choice, every action, and every thought is shaping the life they will live, and they make those choices deliberately, consciously, and courageously. One of the most dangerous traps in life is the illusion of time. People think they have unlimited tomorrows, that there will always be another chance, another opportunity, another someday, when they will finally live fully. But time is relentless, and it does not wait. It does not pause for hesitation, for fear, or for indecision. Every moment wasted, every excuse accepted, every fear indulged is a moment that moves you further away from the life you dream of. And the longer you wait, the more difficult it becomes to break free from the patterns of mediocrity. The key to changing this is awareness and action. Awareness is understanding that the life you are living today is a direct reflection of the choices you have made so far. Action is taking responsibility, stepping into discomfort, and doing what must be done to move forward despite fear, doubt, or uncertainty. Living fully requires courage. Courage is the willingness to act in spite of fear, to move forward even when the path is unclear, and to take responsibility for creating the life you desire. Fear is natural. It is the mind and body signaling that growth is about to occur, that change is required, and that you are on the edge of something significant. The difference between those who achieve and those who settle is not that the achievers feel no fear, but that they act in spite of it. They choose forward motion over stagnation, commitment over hesitation, and growth over comfort. Every time you step forward despite fear, you build confidence, resilience, and momentum, and you expand the limits of what you believe is possible. Another critical factor in refusing mediocrity is clarity of purpose. You must know what you want, why you want it, and how far you are willing to go to achieve it. Without clarity, life becomes a series of random actions, distractions, and compromises. With clarity, every decision aligns with your vision, every action builds toward your goal, and every challenge becomes an opportunity to grow. Clarity creates focus, and focus creates results. When you are clear about your purpose, excuses lose their power, fear diminishes, and your energy becomes unstoppable. Discipline is the bridge between vision and reality. Desire alone is insufficient. Motivation alone is fleeting. What produces results is consistent action, persistence, and the willingness to do what must be done even when it is uncomfortable. Extraordinary people understand this. They create habits that reinforce progress, routines that eliminate distraction, and systems that ensure they are moving consistently toward their goals. Discipline transforms potential into achievement, ideas into action, and dreams into reality. Every step, no matter how small, compounds over time into momentum, and momentum is the force that propels ordinary people into extraordinary lives. Finally, you must recognize the power of choice. Every day, every hour, every moment, you have the opportunity to decide. Will you settle for mediocrity, or will you rise to your potential? Will you allow fear, comfort, or doubt to dictate your life? Or will you act with courage, clarity, and discipline? Will you drift through life passively, or will you take charge, step into responsibility, and claim the extraordinary life that is possible for you? The answer is in your hands, and the time to act is now.